On October 21st, 1978, at precisely 19:06 hours, Frederick Valentich initiated his departure from Melbourne's Moorabbin Airport. His aircraft of choice was a Cessna 182L, a single-engine plane known for its reliability. The planned course was straightforward, charted towards King Island, a destination familiar to Valentich. The execution of this routine flight bore no indication of any anomalies or unforeseen challenges at the outset. Frederick Valentich, an aviator of commendable capability, had accumulated approximately 150 hours of flying time. His preparatory habits were marked by attention to detail and precision. Known for his systematic approach to aviation duties, Valentich ensured each flight was undertaken with thorough planning, leaving little room for deviation from established procedures. At Moorabbin Airport, the pre-flight briefing reported upcoming weather conditions. The skies were expected to remain clear, with only light wind. Valentich registered a VFR, or Visual Flight Rules, confirming that the conditions supported a straightforward navigation. This indicated optimal weather, with unrestricted visibility, suitable for the standard transit to King Island. King Island, with its notable lighthouse and minimal population, was the intended terminus for Valentich. Located approximately 235 kilometers from the point of departure in Melbourne, the route was traversed frequently by pilots operating small aircraft. Noteworthy landmarks and navigational aids along this path provided essential guidance during flights. At 19:12 hours, Frederick Valentich contacted Melbourne Flight Service from the cockpit of his Cessna 182L. His radio communication was initiated to verify his path and altitude for the journey to King Island. Positioned within the confines of his cockpit, Valentich's hand rested on the control yoke. His altimeter displayed a consistent reading, plateaued at 4,500 feet. The clouds remained sparse, allowing for unobstructed radio signals. The horizon expanded before him, devoid of atmospheric interference. The clock in the cockpit continued its steady rotation, marking time with mechanical precision. Valentich maintained routine communication with Melbourne Flight Service. Each transmission confirmed his flight level at 4,500 feet as he proceeded along the predetermined course. His altimeter remained steady, corroborating the details transmitted. His eyes intermittently shifted from the instruments to the expansive view beyond the windscreen. The hum of the engine remained constant, echoing in the confined space. No anomalies or disruptions were reported during this segment of the flight. The rhythmic exchange between pilot and control mirrored the predictability of each mile covered. At 19:27 hours, Valentich reported an aircraft unknown to him in proximity to his own. He described it as large and equipped with 4 lights of significant luminosity. The Cessna maintained its altitude, yet the unknown craft displayed stationary behavior punctuated by rapid accelerations. Valentich's description remained precise, noting the intensity of each light. He conveyed his observations with brevity to Melbourne Flight Service. His communication channel stayed open, capturing the controlled cadence of his report as he detailed the sighting. Valentich's voice continued without deviation as he relayed the erratic maneuvers of the unidentified object. His observations recorded the variable velocity, an unusual self-propelled motion not consistent with known aircraft. The tonal quality of his voice presented an analytical detachment as he articulated the scene unfolding before him. Communication equipment operated without failure, transmitting both his vocal assessments and the audible drone of the aircraft engine throughout the exchange. His communication remained directed, reflecting his aviator training and adherence to protocol. At precisely 19:29 hours, Frederick Valentich maintained communication with Melbourne Flight Service. He articulated observations of an unidentified object where the characteristics differed from conventional aircraft configurations. The description focused on its behavior of hovering, displaying no discernible structure akin to known aeronautical designs. Within the Cessna cockpit, Valentich remained approximately 4,500 feet above sea level. His perception was clear as his reports conveyed detail, lacking hesitation. The aircraft continued on its predetermined flight path, asserting Valentich's ability to manage both flight navigation and communication without apparent deviation in procedure. Continuation of Valentich's account occurred at 1930 hours, describing the object as emitting a green light. The Cessna remained on course as Valentich's query to Melbourne Flight Service elucidated difficulty in determining the object's precise motion. Rapid directional shifts of the object presented a challenge, obscuring consistent tracking via the naked eye. His voice conveyed constant vigilance, with the mention of light refracting against the aircraft's windows, altering perception. The frequency of communication from Valentich indicated an adherence to reporting protocol while maintaining operational awareness. Inbound, at 1933 hours, Valentich noted a rough engine idling within his final transmission. His report detailed the subjective experience of an object positioned above his aircraft, creating a momentary lapse in engine functionality. The mechanical sound from the Cessna indicated a deviation from typical flight operation, punctuated by descriptions in Valentich's communication. His last series of words included precise acknowledgement of positional relativity to the unidentified object before abrupt cessation. This marked the conclusion of conveyed verbal communication detailing the incident from Valentich. Radio transmission at 1933 hours terminated with metallic scraping sounds, as documented. Valentich's frequency on Melbourne Flight Service concluded without further interaction. The absence of typical radio feedback, replaced by auditory anomalies, marked an abrupt deviation from normal transmission characteristics. Analysis of frequency response data highlighted distinct non-vocal noise patterns preceding total silence. The sequence resulted in communication systems logging a final contact attempt with Valentich's Cessna without success. A silence ensued, remaining unbroken, following the events described in Valentich's prior reports. On October 21, 1978, at 1933 hours, communication with Frederick Valentich ceased. The search operation commenced immediately in the vicinity of Bass Strait. A coordinated response was initiated by the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. At 2100 hours, both air and sea units were deployed. Helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft combed the designated sector. Vessels navigated the expanse between Cape Otway and King Island. No debris or tracers of Valentich's Cessna 182L emerged in the initial 24-hour period. The operation involved methodical grid searches under unclouded conditions, yet yielded no indication of the aircraft's presence or its aviator. The search efforts escalated, persisting over multiple days post-incident. Weather conditions remained consistently clear, with optimal visibility aiding operations. The coordinated task force divided segments over 1,000 square nautical miles. Aircraft equipped with surveillance technology operated in predefined circuits, while maritime units maintained parallel sweeps. Despite exhaustive coverage, each sortie and expedition returned without conclusive findings or tangible evidence. The absence of physical confirmation persisted, perpetuating the enigma. During this interval, several eyewitness accounts surfaced, reporting sightings of airborne lights above the Bass Strait on the night of October 21, 1978. Witness testimonies were systematically documented by authorities. Observers described erratic movements of luminous entities. Reports varied in detail, but consistently noted unusual aerial phenomena coinciding with Valentich's disappearance. Investigators verified each account, yet no substantiating physical data corroborated these assertions. The case of Frederick Valentich remains unresolved. The report compiled by the Department of Transport spans 315 pages, encompassing technical analyses, witness interviews, and investigative procedures. The document does not provide definitive conclusions regarding the circumstances surrounding Valentich's disappearance. Despite exhaustive inquiry, the lack of physical evidence persistently clouds clarity. The case continues to be an enduring feature of unsolved aerial phenomena. On October 22, 1978, the investigation entered an analytical phase. Investigators were tasked with formulating potential hypotheses regarding Frederick Valentich's disappearance. They proposed multiple scenarios, noting each with equal consideration. The prospect of spatial disorientation over open water was examined based on pilot training protocols. Mechanical failure in the Cessna 182L was assessed through maintenance logs and aircraft model registry. Anomalous activity involving unidentified flying objects was documented, given Valentich's detailed account of the encounter. Despite these investigative efforts, none of the examined theories yielded conclusive evidence, maintaining the mystery of the event. By late October 1978, public interest shifted substantially towards the hypothesis of extraterrestrial involvement. UFO researchers highlighted the metallic scraping sounds captured in Valentich's final transmission as indicative of artificial interaction. Media outlets capitalized on this theory, featuring accounts of similar unexplained phenomena in the region. Advocates within the UFO research community emphasized precedent cases of similar occurrences as supporting evidence. Despite this wide-reaching media engagement, no empirical validation substantiated these claims within recognized scientific frameworks. The theory, however, continued to capture public imagination, fueling ongoing speculation. In contrast, skeptics proposed a narrative rooted in pilot error as the primary cause of disappearance. Analysts emphasized scenarios involving disorientation over water during night flights, particularly challenging for less experienced aviators, such as Valentich. The Bass Strait's featureless expanse was presented as conducive to sensory misjudgments, potentially leading to navigational errors. This theory was supported by aviation psychology studies outlining human perceptual limitations. Nonetheless, the lack of physical evidence or a recovered aircraft precluded definitive conclusions, leaving the event subject to conjecture rather than specification. The disappearance of Frederick Valentich remains officially unresolved. No concrete evidence has emerged to clarify his final moments over the Bass Strait.